Hi, beautiful people. I'm Shanika.
I'm Chloe.
I'm Corey.
I'm Kelsey, and we are Mother.
We are Black mothers
and artists in a big city.
Navigating motherhood for the first time.
Through a pandemic.
Sharing our personal experiences, the sweet moments with the kiss, mwah,
and all the shit they don't tell you.
Motherhood.
Raw.
Undressed.
And unapologetic.
This journey can be a mother.
Shut your mouth.
This is Mother.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of Mother. This is a show about the raw, undressed look at motherhood. I also like to add that you will hear babies in the background. We, if only we could get our kids to sleep on some sort of schedule or be quiet all the time. So if you hear a random cry or a scream, it's just our babes. We like to keep it real relaxed around here. So I'm Kelsey. I'm here with Shanika and Chloe. And today's episode is all about, I'm calling it Registry Plus. So it's about registry, but it's also about the greater baby product industry and how it informs us being women of color and the products that we look for and the things that we found important through that process. And then now even having kids, like what are you looking for in your products and the things that you see in the industry and what's missing? So yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. We have a very special guest with us. She is a friend. She's my friend. She's a mother. She's a boss entrepreneur. She's a wife. She's a singer, performer extraordinaire, and just all around powerhouse of a person and someone who I aspire and look up to. And we have Keewa from Kido Chicago. Do you mind? Can I read the little bio about Kido? Because I think it's awesome.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's read the little bio about the Kido because I just found it kind of perfect. And let me pull it up right now. And my internet's dying. There we go. Okay. So, Kido, Chicago, born and raised. Keewa and I are both from Chicago, born and raised, proud Chicagoans. I can't wait to go back. Okay. Kido is a small shop by a fourth generation entrepreneur. Both Keewa and Amanda are Black Wall Street descendants, which is so cool. And Keewa has built Kido with the hope to keep their family legacy alive. Her great-grandfather had a tailor shop in the Greenwood district of Tulsa, Oklahoma. During the massacre of 1921, he fled to Chicago and rebuilt his shop on the South Side. Keewa's grandmother carried the torch and grandfather carried the torch and built his own tailor shop. And now 100 years after Greenwood burned, she has her own shop in downtown Chicago.
Wow. Incredible. The legacy. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that's like really, really killer. So welcome, Keewa.
Hi. Thanks for having me. This is just really an excuse to see all these babies, but
no, I know.
I'm glad to talk to adults always.
I know. So how are just in general, just like are you guys open? Are you still doing like mostly like how are things there in Chicago right now with the store?
Yeah, we're open. We were closed for about like 5 months last year, which felt really long. But then I follow a bunch of other shops and I see other states and cities have just reopened recently. So I guess depending on where you are, it wasn't that long, but man, it's just been a crazy year for everything, but having a storefront and then the kids and all of that, it's just been like, what?
Yeah. It's like what day is it? Like that's what, every time I'm just like, what day is it? What year is it?
Right.
So I want to ask everybody, did you have a registry? Did you feel comfortable? I found myself when I was looking at registry items, I found myself sometimes uncomfortable putting items on there, like cost wise. So So did you have a registry, and what were the things that you looked for when you were building your registry? Did you feel comfortable making one, et cetera, et cetera? So Keewa, you can answer that because you have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Oh man, I feel like I didn't know what I was doing because I didn't really have any siblings or close friends who had babies. Like I had babysat or something like between gigs. But I really didn't know the ins and outs of like what you would need to have a baby. So I really was just like Googling and following the little online lists. So when I look back on it, my registry felt really just impersonal and kind of stale. Like I literally just went on Amazon and just was like, well, I need diapers. Okay, well, it's like, I don't think it in any way reflected like, my values are just knowing like about, baby skin issues or like how Black babies like usually have eczema or like have different things going on. Like it wasn't backed with that knowledge of like, oh, you'll probably be going through this or you'll need this. Like it was like, it was a really blind selection. And then, also looking back on it, like Amazon, like I probably wouldn't have done that either. Because now that I have a small shop, I try at the very, try to have as minimal things on the Amazon as possible. So, yeah, it was a hot mess, but I think we got like diapers and sheets and stuff. So,
Yeah.
so that's a success.
Yeah, I think when I was doing mine, I spent so much time. I was like so excited. I was like looking at everything and like doing the research and blah 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 and like the best products. But I didn't. It's hard to know what you actually will need when the kid actually comes. But I do wish that I had been, my best advice, like was like now looking back at it is like, don't go ham. Like wait till you meet your kid to register and buy things. Cause like, that's going to inform so much of what you need. And some of the things I registered for, I just like, I don't like them. I like wish I had got something else or, and then as far as like, representation or that, like I didn't, it's just hard. It's hard to find products that are created by women of color that are, here, like it's hard. Like your shop is definitely an anomaly or the things that you can find aren't necessarily essentials, right? Well, I feel like when you're looking for clothes and books and that type of stuff. So that's what I found. What about you guys? How was your registry process, Shanika?
I was really overwhelmed at first. Because also like there's so much out there, not particularly for very specifically for Black children. However, just products in general now, the technology is getting advanced and there's just so many options and everybody has their opinion about which option is best, However, I started early because I know that I didn't want to get anxiety about it because I also was like, it's just a registry. This should not be a part of the stress of having a new life. And so I started early and I just built slowly. Throughout my pregnancy so that I could really, so that's my advice is that if you're somebody that, you will get overwhelmed and get some anxiety about it, just build early, use baby lists, makes it super easy to just, click when you need to click. And what I liked about baby lists is that it gives options for where they can buy. It doesn't necessarily say that you have to go to one particular place or another. So yeah, I found it very overwhelming at first. And then eventually I just was like, I'm going to take my time. And then of course, everybody has their opinion about your registry. So there's that. And then even to that, I just say, do you, as you will find with motherhood and parenting period anyways, you just got to do what you feel is best, take suggestions here and there. And then, then go from there and be fearless in clicking. Because I also had like, you know how you were saying that, you didn't want to, because of price, you kind of was like, oh, I don't know if I should put that. So what I did was I actually separated the list a little bit. I had a private list that was more for like the grandparents and, the people that I know would probably spend $300 or $400 on something for baby because it's their grandchild and they just are excited to do that. So I made like a private list where only they could see everything on the registry. And then those private items like the stroller or the crib or things like that. And then I made, a general list that had things that were more like, oh, this is $10 sock pack or, something that definitely was for everybody. And I can say that out of all the items I got, I think I only didn't get like 4 things. And this was during a pandemic. So I was so grateful that people like really blessed us. And I'm so glad that, because I said to my mom, I was like, should I put that on the registry? She was like, don't count nobody money. Put it on the registry, and if people want to bless you, they gonna bless you. And I said, well, thank you, Mom. Thank you for that, because I'm so glad she said that, because it's true. You don't count other people money. You don't know. They may want to bless you in that way. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I love that quote. Don't count other people. Because we do it, right? Because we're considerate people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We're considerate people. But it's true. It's like, you don't know. Don't tell somebody how to bless you. If they want to bless you that way, let them bless you that way.
That's really hard. That's like a general theme. And that's really hard to kind of like get over. Just people do want to help, especially when you have kids, like they want to help you. And it's hard, especially being prideful, strong Black women. I know it's hard to kind of accept the help and say yes.
Yeah. I mean, and on top of it is just like, you really realize how good of a person you've been. You know what I'm saying? That was an eye opener to me, is that how many people came out of the woodwork wanting to help. And it was like, you hope that you are walking in this world doing good for people and being a good person and, being kind and generous to people, and not with the intention of it necessarily always, like, oh, it has to be reciprocated. But it's nice when it is reciprocated. And I feel like the greatest form I've seen it in has when with me being pregnant with him and having him, I've seen the reciprocation in like its most beautiful form. People that I haven't even talked to in years even also. So yeah, I agree with that.
What about you, Chloe?
I felt similar to you, Kelsey, in terms of putting things that were expensive, because I just felt weird about it. Back home, we don't really, maybe we do now because I have been away for 10 years, but I feel growing up that we didn't really do registries or have baby showers. There weren't baby showers. I think people had things after a baby was born, but not before. People can probably correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, Campbell agrees. So it was kind of a weird thing for me anyway, doing a registry, but being in America, I was to embrace it. Yes, Campbell. And at the beginning as well, when I was 6 months pregnant when the pandemic started, so that's when I was starting to do my registry. So it was that thing of as well of being like, well, everyone's lost their job. We're in a pandemic. I'm really not expecting anything at all. But I did have a lot of fun creating a registry. It was so great just to get us through the beginning of the pandemic, kind of nesting, getting the nursery ready, building a registry. It was really, really fun. And as Shanika said, I did, things that were on the more expensive side, and then lots of little things that were $3 or $5, baby Tylenol. How handy has that been? So things like that are actually really useful, don't cost an arm and a leg, but you're definitely going to need. Yeah, we use that Tylenol. So in terms of the registry, I did enjoy putting it together, but I did feel that weird, are people gonna do anything. And it's so true. And maybe it was because of the pandemic, but people are so lovely and they really do want to help. It is very surprising. I don't think you realize when you first have a baby how much people want to help and they want to help out and do things. So
yeah. So Keewa, how have you noticed, like, since we're talking about the pandemic, like being an entrepreneur throughout the pandemic, what generosity have you noticed? And like, what was the biggest surprise, I think, during the pandemic and keeping your shop open? And what was the biggest surprise for you?
I think very similar to what Chloe was saying, in that, you're just so sensitive to everyone having a different situation. And so I'm immediately thinking about, people like losing their jobs or hours getting cut, or like, your mind immediately goes to, to that side. But there were a lot of people who were, kind of in the same situation, but just working from home and still, wanting to. I think the thing that I didn't really calculate or realize that ended up being a blessing is that I didn't really realize that because kids were home so much more, that the rotation and the life cycle of their belongings was like getting smaller and smaller. So it makes total sense. And I have kids and I should have been like, oh, well, this is going to happen. So let me just da-da-da. But I didn't really, none of us have been through a pandemic before, but I quickly realized, like, okay, if kids are home all the time, then that toy that they play with, usually just every day when they get home from school and a little bit on the weekend, they were now playing with like all day, every day. And so after a week, it's like, okay, what's next? So the life cycle of the books and all these things was just shorter. So parents were just like kicking it in, like, okay, they're tired of that. We need to do this. This broke, And so I had to kind of amp up, with the things we were ordering, just like more quantity, more variety, just to kind of fill the need, which was a pleasant surprise. I kind of was thinking the other way, like, oh, let me just kind of cut down on this. But it went the other way. So I was like, I was glad.
How do you feel your shop has, like, the space that it takes up in the baby industry? Like, what products do you find that people gravitate towards, or, what has been the difference? Because I think Kido stands out. I think, and if you also want to talk about the reason that you created it. The reason that you created it for, to kind of like fill the gaps that were missing in the baby industry for, kids of color. So I guess that's like a multi-faceted question. But if you want to talk about what your products are and then what your inspiration was for Kido.
Yeah, so I definitely feel like, in connecting to what you guys were talking about, we're definitely not completely splurgy, but we're definitely on the list of wants as opposed to the list of needs, Yeah. So, there a lot of people are coming here giving gifts, to new babies or for birthday parties or whatever. And I think when a lot of people are buying for new babies, they play it safe generally. Unfortunately, there's always nerves hoping that baby comes out healthy, which doesn't always happen, unfortunately. Right. And there is also, when you're buying for someone else, nerves that you don't really know what their taste is. You don't know if you'll buy something for them and they'll just put it on the shelf because they don't really like it. And so I think generally most people play it safe when they buy baby stuff. But I feel like when people buy from Kido, it's really with a confidence of like, I'm buying something that I know you like or that I know you want. That's not necessarily just like a beige spit cloth that you need. You know what I mean? And I think that it helps us because it ends up being a real emotional thing, an emotional buy, even if it's with things that are for representation, because you want you want a onesie with a little black boy on it as opposed to with Frozen on it. Like whatever it is, it kind of plays into the emotions. And so when I had my son, like I said, I had no kind of close relatives or friends who had babies at that time. And when I went, he had acid reflux, like bad. Both of my kids had bad acid reflux. And which meant that they were literally just throwing up all day, every day. And we were going through like 4 and 5 outfits, and nobody told me this. And I was like, what is going on? And they were, quote unquote, fine. But meanwhile, it was very exhausting for me, very taxing. And they were just running through their clothes like crazy. So every time they were asleep, every time he was on me, and I was just on the web, I was shopping. I was shopping for more clothes because they were getting so soiled that the life cycle was shorter. And then in shopping for him, for these little boys, I was just like, what? I was surprised by the messaging and the lack of color or creative expression for their clothing. Just the clothing alone. Obviously there's other stuff, but for the clothing, I was like, what? Like, this is what it is? Little onesie that say like, tough like dad, and give me, I mean, even onesies, like if you go down the rabbit hole, it's like,
I've been down that rabbit hole. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I've seen onesies with a mug of beer on it that say like, give my dad another, or whatever it is. And I'm just like, okay.
I truly am not a fan of so many baby clothes. And I also can't stand that everything is pink or blue. It drives me insane.
Still, okay, so my kids are 3 and 5, but I mean, we are slowly getting out of the gender thing. I'm like, really? Do I have to look through all of the boy stuff and all of the girl stuff just to shop for my daughter? Everything, like, just give us everything. It's so weird. And so I was discovering that for the first time. And so I was just like, yeah, there's gotta be something different. I was like, not performing, I'm freshly having a baby. I wasn't performing. I was looking for some kind of way to get some creative ideas out. And that this was just the way that it came out, like my creativity and the ideas that I had. I had to do a lot of research on how to actually get a shirt made or printed because I had no idea, because it's not what I did. But yeah, I had all the time in the world because I was just, nursing and sitting there. It's what you feel like all you're doing is just sitting there. Just sitting there. So I was just on the web looking and, just seeing, how do you do it? How does it work financially? All that stuff. So kind of how it happened.
And now here we are. How old is your shop?
The brand, I started the brand in 2016, and then we opened the physical store in 2018. So the shop is like 2.5 years. 2.5 years old now.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So I want to know, so as like all of us, me, Chloe, we're all first time moms. So it's like, we're just, and we all had kids during the pandemic. We all were either pregnant or like Chloe gave birth like right at the height of like crazy COVID time. So what I want to know, like, what do you think, how do you feel, what do you want your kids to learn from watching you grow this business, to watch you, like, what do you hope they're learning, or what do you want them to learn from watching you? And you and your husband, right? Your husband, you run this together, right?
Yeah. So he actually still has a 9-to-5, which thank the Lord for insurance. But wow, I don't feel like I think about that a whole lot. But I just know that they're getting it somehow. They're getting something. Because my mom never had a 9-to-5 when I was growing up. And I never really I don't know. It's just like something you notice. Like I know that they'll just notice and hopefully know that it's an option. Like even if they aren't like, I'm not passing down kiddo to the next generation, even if they're just doing their own thing. Just knowing that you can be in control of your own destiny and you don't have to ask for permission. I think is a good thing. And maybe once they realize, well, I don't even think they really know what kiddo is. They just like it. They're like, oh, let's go to kiddo store, blah, blah, blah. But once they realize that it's, a business and that people go and people like the shop, like maybe they'll be more impressed. But right now they just like, they aren't impressed with anything I do. So maybe in the future. It's weird. I mean, obviously like mommy is God right now, but they don't really they don't know what it is. So
yeah. I think that's I don't know why I asked that question, because I think about it too, like what I learned from watching my parents grow up. And so, I hope that my son is able to see the blood, sweat, and tears that it takes to pursue and follow and to, quote unquote, be successful or to, be on your own path. So it's something that I'm interested in. Chloe, do you have a thought about that? What you want Campbell to see from you pursuing your dreams and your career and everything? Like, what do you want her to learn?
She's just messing up my hair over here. What do I want you to learn, little one? I think that she can follow whatever path she wants, kind of what Keewa was saying. It's definitely hard being a performer or being someone that's self-employed, especially for things like health insurance in this country, where having a 9-to-5 is a good way of making sure that you and your family are covered. And that's something you have to think about, especially when you have a baby. But in similar ways, I really want her to hopefully see the strength that we have in pursuing our own things, and just to have her own mind about things. I really want her to not feel like she has to follow the mold or follow what everyone else is doing. And I think Kyle is very good at that, and I think she has a really good role model in him, as well as myself, hopefully. But yeah, that she doesn't have to follow what everyone else is doing. But that is the scary thing about having a child. And then you start watching TV shows in a completely different way, and then I'm freaking out about what's going to be like when she's a teenager and all the rest of it. But one day at a time.
Yeah, definitely one day at a time. I think for me, the thing that I hope that he sees is the fact that he has options. I think that that's what's most important, because, society, him being a black man eventually is going to want to tell him otherwise, that he doesn't have a lot of options. But I hope that we, part of the reason why we want to stay here in New York, what I like about this city, which is also the scary thing about this city, is that they have so much inspiration around them, and the accessibility to that type of inspiration is just incredible to me. The fact that they can get on a train and kind of, go and see art and different types of sports and different types of people, and they go to school with different types of people, and that's so easy. I grew up in Atlanta, and I'm very proud of growing up in Chocolate City, Black Mecca. However, when I went off to college and things, I just remember how much of like a culture shock that was for me, and having to learn a different way of being around other types of people and everything. It's so late in life. So the fact that he's going to grow up in a city where he has so much accessibility to inspiration and different types of cultures, and with Broadway kids, when they go to school, they're going to school with all different types of people whose parents do all different types of jobs. So I think that's going to be interesting, seeing like how what types of other parents come into his lives and what types of other careers he sees growing up in a city like this. But I just want him to know that he has options, even like going to his college fund. We don't even have like a college fund. We have a fund so that he can have the option for if that isn't what he wants to do. And he in fact wants to be an entrepreneur or something of the sort. I just want him to be able to have options. I don't want mommy and daddy to tell him what his path should be. I just want to introduce him to a lot of different things and see what he, navigate towards. So that's kind of the way I want to.
That's awesome. Did either of you have questions for Keewa before I let her go? Because I know she has a lot, and she's doing. Every day is like, watch Kido on this, and I'm doing this, and I have this interview, so I don't want to hold her too long. Did you guys have questions for her?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Campbell will be one soon, and I have a friend her baby is 5 days older than Campbell. What do you get for a 1-year-old? People are asking, oh, what would you? I don't know.
Oh man, I honestly feel like when mine were like 1.5, I was so eager to get them out of like onesies. I was like, I could just feel them getting, especially the summertime, just having more of their body being free and out. I remember looking forward to that. And I feel like after a year is when those kind of gifts and stuff start to wind down, and you're just starting to spend your money on everything that you want. You've been doing it before then, some, but sometimes you have so much stuff. You're like, oh, we still have people gave us, little things, and that have lasted. But yeah, like hand motor skill things. We have a lot of like wooden toys in the shop. So, we have this lockbox where they open the little doors and do the little latches and musical things, rainmakers and things. I feel like all about the sensory, like they're eating food now. They're like really starting to discover the world. With their senses. So anything that activates that, like anything that gets their little fingers like really trying to figure it out, or sounds and just shaking things. And I mean, blocks, this is like the fun time. It's like a little window, I feel like, because obviously Campbell is like already, moving around. But I feel like 1.5 years, I remember just feeling like all I was doing was chasing them around. And so I feel like from 1 year to 1.5 years, there's still a little time where you can pop something in front of them and maybe, but mine also walked early. So it's, it depends on the child. But yeah, I feel like just things that like are colorful and kind of focus their busyness into using their hands or their ears or their eyes and that type of thing. But yeah, I feel like at 1 year old, I was just so eager to it's weird. They don't have their own style, but I was eager to dress them how I wanted to dress them, as opposed to just using these things like from Ross or something that somebody bought some ugly multi-pack of 5 things. And I'm like, okay, well. So I feel like, yeah, between 1 and 2, especially, I was like, okay, are we done with these like ugly, discount, whatever it is. I'm right there with like you. Super bougie saying that, but like, even hand-me-downs. Like I have friends who gave me like cute hand-me-downs. I was excited to wear those, put those on them.
Yep.
But yeah, I was eager to get out of the space of like the stuff we had been gifted that I felt obligated to use, but didn't feel like if it were my, like, I would ever spend money on whatever it was, you know.
I think, Chloe, I think you can tell them to go to kiddochicago.com to look for items and clothes and amazing books. They have the best book section for children of color. Like it's just extensive. It's like my favorite part. I put some books on my registry from Kido. So that like
that is so good to know. That's so good to know, because that was a big thing for my registry. I was trying to find like, you know, books for, you know, for kids of color. And you only had like 5 of the same books. And I'm so glad to hear that. Okay, so thank you.
Yeah, it's an extensive book series. It's amazing, her book collection that she has at her store.
Especially, you guys being in New York City, like, you know, there are a lot of people who buy from Kido who live in places where they don't see a lot of diversity. So they're trying to buy books to like show their kids what they're not seeing necessarily. Yeah. But in New York, I feel like you all are buying books to kind of supplement what they will see. You know, if you're on the subway or somewhere and they see someone with a hijab on, or they see someone in a wheelchair or whatever, like they're going to be seeing a whole lot. So then you have the books to kind of tell them like, these are these kind of people and they live this way and this is what we can learn from them and that type of thing, which is really cool.
Yeah. So
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
My question is, where do you want to see the future of Kido go? I would love to know like what your dream is for that, so we too can put it in the atmosphere for you.
Oh man, it's like it still all feels so new to me because like you guys, I spent my whole life thinking, not necessarily thinking that the only thing I could do was perform, but I definitely felt my whole life like it was the best thing that I did. Like it was the thing that I was best at. So to abandon it and be dreaming in another way is still very new to me. But I do feel like since having the shop, I've started to realize where there still are gaps in terms of things that we need, families of color, Black families. So I definitely am trying to get used to dreaming bigger and like, you know, it's hard to think that you could like do manufacturing or have your own factory of something. You know, that just seems like what are you thinking? But I do try to, even just on Instagram, I do try to follow people who I see like, okay, you started small, like you started with an idea too. And like, I can see like in 5 years how you grew, you know, like I try to follow people who I can see like how accessible the dream could be and not get overwhelmed by it to like just cross it out, you know, just because I don't know how to do it. And so I do think like just filling in those gaps of like, I don't have any like Black toy maker vendors that I can really use right now. And then the ones that I do know about, they aren't necessarily producing at a level or quantity where they can wholesale and sell to me. Like they might just be able to do their own website. And so it's tricky because I want to always be buying things for the shop that are intentional and that reflect, you know, my values. But I'm not always finding, you know, Black owned. I'm not always finding sustainable or things that line up. So I do think that the dream will be about like kind of putting the Kido stake into a larger industry arena. I hear from people that in the toy field, you know, Mattel, Melissa and Doug, you know, all these big toy companies and the leadership, there are no Black people, and it's still white male. And so you think, you know, with toys and things that reflect families and motherhood, that there would be women, and there aren't. So I definitely, once I kind of found that out, I was like, okay, like there's some, as people start to trust our brand and see us as some kind of authority on what people of color want and families, I think we can use that to kind of widen the, you know, the influence and make some products that are like really for us, by us, you know. So I guess
Okay, Black millionaires out there.
Yeah.
Come on,
Yes,
Black millionaires.
we
You need an
definitely-
investor. Come on through. Give her what she needs. She done told you what the dream is. We seal it in the name of Jesus.
I know. Come on, whoever's you're out there. You know, I got my bank account number is bleep blah bloop.
Yes, I love that. Well, thank you, Keewa, for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. If you don't follow at Kido Chicago on Instagram, please follow them. Go to their shop. It's amazing. I said it has the best book collection in the whole kid industry. So check out their bookstore. If you're in Chicago, go to the store. I can't wait to come and visit. I will definitely be there this summer.
Oh my goodness. I hope I can get to New York sometime soon. It feels, it's really surreal to have spent so much time there and live there, and then to go so long without being, it feels like something is like depleted in my system. So I will definitely be there sooner than later, hopefully.
Yay!
And just for our podcast listeners, that's KID as in dog O.
Yes.
KIDO.
Yeah.
Yep. So check them out. And Keewa, thank you for taking the time out of your day. And we will talk to you soon. Love you.
All right. See you later.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. That was, I love her. Like, I cannot, you guys, like, if you were looking for books, you should definitely go. They've got the most, her books are, that's what she specializes in, is books for kids of color. And just, she's got so many.
I can't wait to go on her website now.
Yeah, it's good. She's got a really good, and her shop is so cute. And so I just can't wait to see where it goes, because I think it's so special. And just in a time, where that type of stuff is kind of being put to the forefront, like black things, seeing black people on things is kind of not trendy, but it's more important, I think, now in mainstream. So I look forward to how it continues to grow, because she's doing such good work with her shop. So, yeah. So what do you guys think about just the registry in general? Like, what would you do if you had to do it again, or if you do it again? Because we might have to do it again.
If I had to do it again, well, first of all, as in like, I have child number one and then this is child number two's registry, or I have no kids and I'm going back in time. Which one?
Either one.
I think that having child number two, they like to call it a sprinkling. When you already have had a kid, they more so say like, oh, now you're just doing a little sprinkling. I don't know, because it's like my husband's cousin, she ended up saving so much of her son's clothes and everything like that, and he's now 3. And she was like, I'm so glad that I did, because now I'm having another kid and I really don't have to get anything. The crib was of great quality. They don't have to get another crib. Now, granted, they live in a house in Queens, so they have a place to put all these things. Us city moms are like, as soon as we can get rid of something, we're like, oh, let me get rid of it. Let me give it away.
Yes.
I wish I could save so that my registry could literally just be need. I would have done a diaper fund. If I would have done it over, I would have definitely had a cash diaper fund, because you just, even when we got diapers in bulk with our registry the first time, but I still feel like, because you also don't know what size they're going to be, what weight. You may have a baby on the smaller side, so they're in, size 1 for a much longer period of time than they are to size 2. And so I really wish I had a diaper fund, because it's like Amazon Prime every 5 seconds of my coins. And if I would have been able to pull from a cash fund, that would have been great.
On the diaper front, I had a diaper fund, and I'm so glad we did it, because we subscribe to diaper.com. DYPER. And I love that because you can just schedule it when you need it. You can like, if you're not ready for the next lot, you can save it and have it come later. You can change the sizes. If you have the wrong size, they'll swap it out for you. And so and that's what I loved about Baby List, is that you could put things like a diaper fund on it or a meal train or blah, blah, blah. So just wanted to sprinkle that one in there.
No, yeah, I think that would be like the number one thing I would do differently, because honestly, all the things I did get on my registry, I ended up loving. Even the most controversial thing, which was my wipe warmer. My wipe warmer was such a controversial topic. I mean, everybody was like, do not get that wipe warmer. But I ended up loving it. And I'm so glad that I went with my personal want gut, because it's not a need. It's not a need, but it was a want. It was something I wanted. And I ended up, everyone's like, you're not going to use it. And I ended up I use it all the time. I love the wipe warmer. I considered getting the one that they have, the portable wipe warmer, to put in the bag, because I like that my baby got a warm wipe on his booty. You don't want no cold wipe on your booty. So I wanted to put a warm. But yeah, I loved everything about the registry. That's just that diaper fund. I would have done that a little bit.
Yeah, that's good. I think if I were to do it again, or like I said earlier, some things I would have waited on to buy. Oh, okay. Oh, Lord. Oh, okay, you're asleep. Can we go to sleep? If I had to do it all again, I think I would. I agree with the diaper fund. I also would have also taken the meal train more seriously, or meal services. I didn't realize how important that was going to be. I ended up getting gifted some meals, and that was really I would have put that on there as something that people could have contributed to. I would have also, you think that you want a convertible car seat, something that can grow, but I would recommend everyone getting an infant car seat to start and then growing into it. That's just, we have a convertible one. I don't like it. It's hard to put in. We can't take it in and out. So that's just something that I would have done differently.
I would say one thing, same as you, Kelsey, I wish I'd done a meal train. My friend even asked me, she said, after I've had Campbell, she messaged me and said, would you like me to start a meal train for you? And I just felt so bad asking for more from people, because people had already been so generous. And I said, no, it's totally fine. And I definitely had friends that were incredible and messaged me and were like, we want to buy you dinner for tonight or whatever. So that was really lovely. And we were lucky that we had that quite often. But yes, I think that would be one thing. And from the last episode, what Jackie said about money for breastfeeding.
Yes.
And I also wish I had what Corey said about that vibrating thing for your boobs to help with clogged ducts, just because I suffered so badly from that. And I had so many issues with that. But everything else on my registry, I think, was so helpful. I didn't really put clothes, because people just can't help but buy baby clothes for you. So you're going to just get sent clothes whether you want them or not. Yes. Also swaddles. Didn't really even need to put swaddles, because people send you their swaddles.
Yes.
And I have to say, Facebook Marketplace came through for us on quite a number of occasions.
Someone else told me about Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, we got her crib brand new, still in the box, for half the price, if not less than half the price, because someone got sent 2 of them, I guess. So I was giving them away. And so we got it for a steal, and it was brand new, the exact one we wanted and the exact color. I mean, I think that was a gift from the Lord above. But yes, so Facebook Marketplace is incredible, especially in a city like New York, where people don't have the space to keep things. So people are just wanting to get rid of them or pass them along. They're so helpful when you have them, but you use them for such a small period of time that I think one thing, we didn't personally get this. We got it off Facebook Marketplace for no money at all, basically. But we got a Mamaroo. I don't know if either of you had them. And we used it for what? I don't know. We really didn't use it that often. And for us personally, Campbell didn't really care for it. So we didn't get it brand new, but they're very expensive. So I just think it's helpful for a week or two, maybe. I know other people might swear by them, but we wouldn't have needed that.
Well, that's the other interesting thing about it, about some of the products too. It's like, you'll read the reviews and it's like rave reviews. I know my, what was it? The Solo Baby carrier, rave reviews. And I was so excited to have it. And he hated it. And it's a very expensive wrap. He hates it. He absolutely hates it. And I would say if I had to think of anything I regret it was that. But how was I to know that I was going to, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know until there are definitely some products that you don't know. But I was able to give someone else it. I gifted a mom who is about to have a baby with it, and maybe her baby will like it. But some of the things, it really is kind of hard to know, like, if they are going to want it or not. But and I am all about a meal prep service. I knew that I was not going to want to cook. And we had that meal prep service. Our good friend, Robert Hartwell, like, God bless his soul, he was like, you should do a meal prep service. I was like, you're right. I'm definitely going to do that. And it was, you think you're going to have time to cook, or even if both mom and, or, both parents, I won't say mom and dad, because it be mom, dad, but, both partners are home. No one feels like cooking when you've been up all night and all morning with the kid. You don't, or then you end up eating crap. So, like, if you can
relentless cooking too, it's just Kyle was just constantly cooking. Yeah,
because you're so hungry too. You're just so hungry from breastfeeding, and it's a lot. So I definitely we will create a list and a post with all of our favorites and things that we recommend for you listeners to find and to look up. So that look out for that when this episode drops. I think that's a good way to end it. We all loved baby lists. That's something we'll definitely all of us use baby lists for our registry.
There's like one that I have to rave about. It's so silly, but it's a tub. The 4 Moms Clean Water Tub. I'm obsessed with the 4 Moms Clean Water Tub. I highly recommend it because of the temperature check. It's so hard sometimes to know, like, if the water is too hot for the baby. And I love that they have a digital thermometer that will beep like crazy if the water gets too freaking hot for the baby. Because one time it was too hot.
How hot are you really going to do it?
What do you mean?
Don't you just check it with your hand?
Yeah, but there's been a time where I checked it with my hand, and for me, it wasn't too hot. And then Brett was like, what? So this tub came in handy because it'll tell you, like, it'll go like, beep, 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 and it'll be red and all the things. I need something that just says, like, stop, mom, too hot. Because I also like super hot showers. So my sense of what is hot is not really like a normal person. Like, I'll be like, that's not hot to me. So this is helpful if you are a mom that's like me, that just doesn't have a sense of what is actually hot and what's not hot.
It is, I know what you're saying. It is funny. I remember the first few times we do a bath for Campbell, and you really are like, you really don't know.
Like, what's the temperature?
Yeah, you kind of guessing. Well, they must like it warm.
I remember.
But anywho,
we gave Jackson, and it was too cold, I think, and he screamed. So I guess I understand the logic behind that, behind the self-checking. I understand that. So, any other? I think I listed all of my things, all of my favorites. So we'll post. Look out for a post about all our favorites. Oh, Chloe's got one.
The peanut changer, so great. We love it.
What's that?
To change diapers on a changing mat. It's called the Kikaroo is the brand, and the change is called a peanut. And it's just great. You can just wipe it clean. It's soft and foamy. It's insanely expensive, but honestly, worth it.
Especially if you don't have room for like an actual changing table, like people that do live in like smaller apartments. I love it because I can just throw it on my bed and get the job done. She's so right. It's like that's one of them private baby list registry. You put that on that private list because it is kind of expensive, but grandma or somebody will, trust me, they will buy it. I also will say last thing, because I know Kelsey's like, we got to get out of here. But last one, the Binko Baby mobile changing station. If you have a car and you don't want to change your baby in a sketch bathroom, this is like the best gift from God's earth because it has a section for you to put your wipes, your diapers, it's all there. And it literally just unsnaps from your seat. And there's the changing table and all the things you need. And when they get older, you can even put like a toy in there for them to play with. It's like one of my friends suggested it. And at first I was like, I'm not going to need that. I'm going to have a changing pad with my baby bag. But I'm so glad I did. We took a road trip to Atlanta and it came in handy to just, when you have all the bags and things in the car, to just unsnap this thing, lay the baby and everything is there that I needed. Binko Baby mobile changing. Okay, we can be out. We love you, Kelsey. She was going to kill us.
I love you guys.
I'm joking.
Well, that is going to wrap up today's episode. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you follow us at motherlove_ on all the socials. We have a new episode dropping every Friday, and we will see you on the next one.
To stay connected to all things mother, follow us on Instagram at motherlove_. That's MUTHALOVE_. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube and podcast platform pages. Thanks for listening.